All right, everybody, welcome to a special recorded episode of the Cleaner Cast. A little bonus footage for you here. We finally got Anthony Fisher on the Cleaner
Finally.
Cast. He's been ducking and dodging us, but we finally got him
Ducking,
on.
dodging, diving.
Yep.
They say if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Something like that, right?
You can dodge the Cleaner Cast. Yes, yes. It's
I'm
very
just
true. But
kidding. No, I'm glad you guys got me down.
yeah, a bunch of exciting stuff has been released lately at the Rag Company. You've had nano diamonds, and then this
Yeah.
week you've had all kind of polymers released in this new rinseless wash from PNS, the absolute rinseless wash. So we're here to ask you the hard questions. Anthony, you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready, man. Bring it on. I got myself a zero sugar squirt. I'm relaxing. It's the end of the day. About to jump into a nice weekend. So I think you caught me at the right time for some harder questions now that the dust has settled from some of the other stuff.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Busy week. So glad to have you here. So when did TRC kind of jump in the absolute development? Were y'all there from the ground, the starting ground, or when did y'all jump in? We'll start
Yeah, that's a
there.
good question. So technically, if you want to get to like the way back, this was roughly probably, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago, we had been bugging Dave specifically and Bob specifically to venture into the rinseless world, right? We wanted them to say, hey, have you guys considered making a rinseless wash? And to be honest, and they're completely honest as well, they weren't really super familiar with the concept of doing rinseless. And they had mentioned how Rennie liked to do rinseless with Pearl and things like that, and saying that he liked to use that, but there was never really like a direct there was never really like a direct okay, that's what we want to do. What's the word I'm looking for? Direct connection, I guess you could say. So with Rinseless and the PNS team. And so when we kind of started asking about it, because Jeff specifically, the owner of the rag company, he really wanted to see what they could do, because we know that their chemistry is a lot different. And Dave was honest. He's like, hey man, I've never really made anything like that. I can attempt to, and we can see what happens. But like, I can't promise you it'll be, perfect. And so that was like years ago, like years and years and years ago. And we kind of picked it up. Then we had kind of set it down. We picked it up, set it down. And it was within this last, I don't know, year and a half, a little over a year and a half, we knew that Dave was developing a rinseless wash. And he didn't really go into too much detail in the first like several months. Like, we had heard that through the grapevine and through Bob that Dave was working on something, and we were really excited for it, but he knew that we were very picky people. And so the way they honestly said it was, can you give us time until we have something that's like worth sharing, if that makes sense. So they said that we want your involvement, we want your guys' input, but like, we just need to figure out what the heck how this stuff actually works. And it was about a year ago. It was actually exactly a year ago, a little over a year ago, when Dave and Levi when we were all at Monterey Car Week, and Dave said, can you show me how you currently use a rinseless in the car to see if my work so far has been going in the right direction, kind of thing. And so they did a demonstration. They showed them, and he said, okay, well, this is pretty much in line with everything that I've been making, right? So I think I'm on the right path, and I think it's meeting some of these requirements. But he said that he still wasn't quite there yet 100%. So he continued on, and it was about, I think it was I want to say it was either November or last October, we got the first sample that ever existed. And I believe that Sydney had that same example for, a little while before I did. And she had been kind of using it, but then we got it and we started playing with it and testing it. And then we basically gave them our input, said, hey, this part's kind of doesn't feel right, or this the viscosity here doesn't feel right, or maybe the way it settles doesn't feel right. So there's some certain things that we called out at the beginning. And then back in December, we got the next version, and the December version was getting closer, like much closer, but still wasn't perfect. And
Yeah, this kind of rolls into the next slide.
yeah,
I got the TRC absolute, key features
Mhm.
that you started bringing to Dave once y'all got y'all's hands on it.
yeah.
So
So,
continue.
well, because I mean, let's if we're honest, I mean, like a rinseless wash. I mean, if you look at O&R as
Mhm.
setting the standard of what your expectation of a
Definitely.
rinseless wash is, right? In all
Mhm.
honesty, if you're using that as your baseline, this is what a rinseless needs to do, then that's what people are trained to do. That's what
Yeah.
people are
Yeah.
trained to think, and that's their expectation as well. So you have to either meet or exceed those expectations. You can't fall short in any one of those. If it falls short there, then why would you even sell it, or why would you make
Yeah.
it? There's no point.
Exactly.
So our expectations was that it had to meet and or exceed every single particular use that you would
Mhm.
have with something like Optimum No Rinse. And we explained to Dave really early on too that there's other rinselesses out there. There's quite a few rinselesses out there, and
Oh yeah.
he, in all of his research, was like, well, this company has a rinseless, or this other big company has a rinseless, or this other big company has a rinseless. He's like, so what are they all just using the same stuff? And I said, no, Dave, there are certain rinselesses out there that are truly soaps. There are other rinselesses out there that
Mhm.
are almost like a diluted APC, like it's just a detergent style rinseless.
Sure.
And then there's a
Mhm.
few out there that are polymer based or organic polymer based, or like a soy polymer based. And then there are some out there that are in fact quick detailers that are just heavily
Yeah.
diluted, and because a quick detailer to some people will have a lot of lubrication, and it will
Yeah.
have slickness, and it will have a lot of those things, but it will not necessarily have the encapsulation that would happen outside of the natural ability of carnauba wax mixed with water
Mhm.
situation. So anyway, so we gave him the list of everything that it needed to do, all the requirements, everything that it needed to meet, and he was mostly like, "Why does it need to be steamed?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm like, it doesn't have to be steamed, but I mean, in a steamer, it should still be able to work and be used in a steamer." And he said, "Well,
Yep.
what's the purpose?" And I said, "Well, it helps with potentially scaling within a steamer, and it adds a little bit more cleaning power." And once he kind of
Mhm.
understood that, that's when I think, made a few more changes to the mix to meet those requirements as well. So
Very
then I want to say it was probably sometime in March or April we got the next batch. But this next
Right.
batch was actually like several batches. Like I got like
Mhm.
4 or 5 different bottles, and at that point he was doing some like last few little changes, and I was really trying to be picky at this point. I was really
Mhm.
Mhm.
trying to like, hey, like I'm gonna pick apart anything that I can, like a
Yeah.
customer would.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's easy
And
to go. It's good. Let's send it on. But
Yeah.
for something to really be great, like I can tell y'all really wanted absolute to be just phenomenal. You got to start picking it to
well,
pieces.
I mean, it has to be, right? And
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know. And you guys already know my thoughts on some of the other rinselesses out there,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and people will find things that work for them, and they'll be happy with them. And
Yeah.
I will say that there's products out there that I truly wanted to love, and I know that I'm going to try to love it when I commit to buying a large amount of it, right?
Mhm. Yep.
I
Sure.
wouldn't
Yeah.
go out and buy a gallon of something unless I was like, hey, I'm hoping I'm going to fall in love with this like everybody else has.
Mhm.
And I did. And there was certain gallons of Rinseless that I did really like. Like I've been honest, and I've said that I enjoy using the Uber Rinseless wash
Mhm.
that not Wolfgang. I think it's just Uber. Yeah, Uber Rinseless wash that you can get from Auto Geek, and I've
Yeah.
always really enjoyed using that. And then I've always obviously enjoyed using O&R. But there's a couple others, that are big hitters in the game that I tried that I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get why people like it.
Mhm.
And I did some bucket testing, and things like that that would kind of show me some things. And I don't know. I started kind of thinking out of the box on that stuff. So
Mm.
um, back to those batches. At that point in time, I think it was around March, where we were definitely getting closer. But I had like a few more, like really like like hard hitting questions for them, and they
Mm-hmm.
said that they've already started to address those particular things, and then it was back in. I want to say it was July. It was either July or June, end of June or early July. We got the final kind of batch of what this product should be.
Right.
And it worked amazing. It did everything it needed to do. I wasn't particularly a fan of the smell that Dave had chosen at that time.
And that rolls
And
into my final slide, which is the scent wars began.
Gotta love the
yeah,
sense, eh?
Yeah.
Oh man.
yeah.
All right, continue.
So at that point, because I had already gotten several different scent versions at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him a big part of it is going to be the smell of the product, because O&R has a great smell to it.
Great
There's
smell,
no denying that. It's got a great smell to it. It's a very unique smell. I believe they call it like a mulberry or whatever it is. And I said, if this is going to be something that people are going to be dunking their hands into, upwards of 3 to 4 hours a day in a shop, or over the weekend, a good hour or two over a weekend of doing washes, you gotta love what you're smelling. You gotta love what you're using. And so that's when it was like mid-July. Dave brought up 6 other samples. So at this point,
Oh, wow.
I had gone through, I don't know, 6 or 7 different versions of the product that I gave feedback on, and then roughly 10 or 11 different scents within those mixtures. So there was a lot of, kind of getting it dialed into what it needed to be. And then what's funny is that, believe it or not, there was actually not going to be a dye in the product. And the dye was not introduced until about June. So at that point in time, all of the samples and all of the product ever since last year had been clear. So it was a pure. It was like a pure white color. It looked like the purest white lotion that you would see. There was no color. There was no tinge to it. It was just a pure, nice white. Honestly, didn't look bad. So the blue color was added, but we needed to make sure that it wasn't so much blue that it would necessarily change the chemical makeup of the product, because certain colors and dyes and fragrances have an impact on performance, especially once you get to a certain concentration. So that needed to kind of be adjusted. So the idea was a nice kind of light blue, I guess, kind of creamy light blue.
TRC blue.
Kind of like it's like a pastel, kind of like a pastel blue almost. Just to kind of complement the bottle. And it was back in July when I want to say the final bottle, the final labeling and all of that was created, and they chose to go with the image of kind of like more of an ocean theme, beach theme, because Bob Phillips and Bob and Dave love tropical areas. And so we had the tropical scent. And then, believe it or not, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I wrote the verbiage on the back of the bottle. Nice. So everything that you see there, I wrote that up, because that was really just the amount, the work that we had put into it and what the product does. And so I felt like I had a good way to at least explain that, in the way that we've been testing it and using it. So after the scents and all that different stuff, there's some crazy scents that we got. There was a cinnamon version. I still have it on my desk. There was a eucalyptus version. There was a mentholy version. There was a laundry version. It smelled like laundry.
Yeah, I got to use the eucalyptus and laundry. When I went to Hayward in June, the scent wars was in full battle. Everybody had a different scent they liked, and they were just all like, which one's Anthony gonna freaking pick? So the scent wars was a real deal once I got there. But the eucalyptus was pretty awesome, but I think you nailed it. The final coconut lime scent, cherry on top.
Well, and Dave had that kind of in his back pocket. He had his hip pocket for a long time. And he said he'd been trying to find a product that it would work with. And then I kind of explained to him, I said, hey, man, like, since our first coconut lime batch in December,
Mhm.
we tested this in warm buckets. We tested this in, in hot water, cold water, all sorts of different environments and stuff. And I said that smell in the winter time made me feel like it was summer, and it made me feel good.
Yep.
And then in the summer, it makes me feel like I'm on an island, washing my car on a beach. So I said it works in both scenarios. And in comparison to like natural other lemon scents and other types of berry scents, I just thought that this made the most sense for the label, and it made the most sense for just kind of the vibe. We
Mhm. Yeah.
talk all the time about, dipping your hands into a bucket of rinseless wash in a garage, turning on music, grabbing yourself a drink, relaxing, getting into that, zenning out and washing your vehicle. And I think that nothing really screams relaxation kind of like coconut lime, right?
Yeah.
All right, Anthony, let's wrap this up with the absolute final thoughts. What are your final thoughts for the product that you may want, the casual viewer to know about Absolute Rinseless Wash?
So final thoughts. Absolute is a fantastic product. I think it's something that took a long time to create, especially from scratch.
Yeah.
It is hard. It is hard. We
Mhm.
realize that it's hard. I didn't realize that there was going to be so many different versions, and I thought that it was a much simpler thing than what it was. I knew that there was a lot of science into it, but I think it really came down to there is a lot of organic chemistry involved, and there's a lot
Mhm.
of it's just a lot of polymer technology, and it's figuring out this stuff out. What I do know is that the ingredients within Absolute um, are the latest and greatest. They're the newest ingredients that you could probably buy here within the last year to 2 years, especially during
Yeah.
the pandemic,
That's
because
what I'm
ingredient.
trying to. Every time someone asks me, so better than O&R, all I tell them is pretty much this is the newest technology.
Yeah.
So if you want to stay
That's
up to date, if you're not buying a bottle of Absolute, you're behind on technology. If you want to
yeah.
try
I
the
mean
newest
that's a
technology,
that's a
buy a bottle.
Fair.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. It is in fact, it's kind of the latest in ingredient technology. That's the best way to explain it. And that doesn't necessarily make something better immediately just by saying that.
Right.
But
Mhm.
I think that for the most part, some formulas haven't been touched for many many years. There's
Mhm.
several rinselesses out there that haven't been touched for many years, and that's probably because they do a good job doing what they need to do, and that's pretty much it. But I think that going forward with this new baseline of ingredients and chemistry, I think it opens up other doors down the road to maybe other different versions or other different
Sure.
types of things for this world that we live in now. So, do I think that everybody needs to toss out their O&R and toss out their soap and go and run to the store, run to the rag company to get a bottle of Absolute? I think that you need to eventually try it. Of course, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I
Mhm.
think that it's how do I explain this? I think that it's amazing and you need to try it, but
Mhm.
you don't need to forget everything that you've learned, and you don't need to grab the pitchforks and all that kind of stuff and
Yeah.
Yeah.
say that all this other stuff is bad. I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't want there to be this giant war that's created over this stuff, because truth be
Yeah.
told, I'm still going to use O&R. I'm still
Mhm.
going to use Absolute. I'm still going to use Uber Rinseless Wash because I still like that stuff.
Yep.
It's the same way that I'll reach for a different quick detailer
Yep.
all the
Yep.
time. It's the exact same shit. And I just don't want people to fight over it, because I'm already seeing a lot of conflict in the
Oh, dude.
comments.
Tons.
And
They're
and it's
blazing.
just
Uh,
and I'm like, at the end of the day, we're just cleaning cars, guys. Like, it's
Yep.
like, what I'm saying? It's not like
exactly.
we're not getting into like health things. We're not getting into like other weird things like political things. Like, it's just
Mhm.
about cleaning cars. And
Yeah.
we're just trying to give you another option out here that we've worked hard on, and that PNS has worked hard on, that I really think that people are going to like. But
Mhm.
don't judge it before you haven't before you tried it. And
Yeah. Exactly.
so yeah,
I think
I
that's
think
how loved, O&R, N914 the last couple of years. People just really, once they think they found, the magic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
sauce. So they
Yeah.
love their rinseless wash of choice. They absolutely just bring out the pitchforks when you try and come for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and what people don't understand, who created the first videos on O&R ever
Right.
on YouTube. It was us. We did.
TRC. Yep.
We did.
Yep.
And so like people are
The
like, oh,
OGs.
you know, and the thing, and I love O&R. I've fought the damn O&R battle
Mhm.
for I don't know how long I've been fighting this battle
Mhm.
for. And
Yep.
so which should show you how picky I am and what kind of standard I've held. And so we told PNS that their undertaking of this rinseless wash product was going to be a big undertaking, and they're going to have a lot of eyes on them. They're going to have a lot of people that are going to be skeptical because there's a lot of skeptics in the industry. But
For sure.
I just want people to try it. I want people to develop their own opinion. And I think for the most part, I think most of the key points where I've said that the product does leave a slicker surface, the product does leave a nice streak-free finish, and that the product does have what I personally think is better water softening ability.
Sure.
I think that people are going to be amazed by it. And I think they're going to love it for exterior washes. And I think that a lot of people might convert to Absolute for exterior washes specifically, and or a clay lube or something of that nature.
You'll find a job for it that you specifically like it for sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
And there will be something. And like I said, there will be something for that, because one thing I will tell you is that while I love O&R and I have used O&R for so long as a clay lubricant, I've always felt that there was just that extra 10%, that extra 20% of slickness that I would have preferred to see out of O&R as a clay lubricant that would have truly made it like an ultimate product in that particular area.
Yeah.
And it has never hit that, right? But what's amazing is that Absolute does. So now I say, well, perfect. Now I have a gallon of clay lubricant. Well, I have 256 gallons of clay lubricant.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I have more clay lubricant than I'll ever know what to do with, but I also have an exterior wash product. I also have an interior cleaner, and I have so many other things. And so
super versatile.
Yeah. People just need to try it, and and I promise you that you're gonna like it. And it's gonna be great. So that's pretty much it. That's my final thoughts. I guess the biggest thing, I didn't want to create conflict with this thing. I don't want people to have to pick sides and do all this. But at the end
I
of
literally
the day,
just said what you just said pretty much on, like, I did a TikTok review and said what you said. You just got to try it. Yeah, I'm a total sellout now. So
well, I mean, and that's what I mean. I'm in the same boat now where people are going to say, well, you're just trying to make money. I'm like, guys, do you realize that it probably costs so much more money to buy these ingredients and then probably for PNS to pay Dave's salary for a year and a half to create this particular product than it would to get the return back that fast? I mean, if we wanted to make money, we probably just wouldn't have taken this on, or they wouldn't have taken this on, and we wouldn't have allocated the time and effort.
Just made what everybody thinks. Some people might think it is an O&R clone.
Yeah,
out, it's not that.
So,
all right, dude, you got any last minute statements?
No, I can't get over the amount of people knocking it already that hadn't even used it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's,
and that's gonna happen. And like I said, I'm fine with it. I've learned that it's a pretty harsh industry in certain areas. I'm glad that people at least accepted like the Diamond ProTech launch with Open Arms, or what seems like Open Arms, which is good. But when you get a company that's already so well known and is already, and is already doing such amazing things, such as PNS, when you launch a product like this, I understand there's going to be skeptics, because the same people are the people that probably say that Bead Maker lasts 3 days, and the same people that say that Dream Maker is Bead Maker, and then other people that say,
polarizing. I don't know why PNS has become such a polarizing brand to certain people, but man, they just, I don't know. I don't get it.
No, I'm sorry that they make fantastic products in-house that are very affordable for
and have the
pros,
nicest people in the world,
to the enthusiasts, and the products work every time. I'm like, that's just got to be so crappy for you guys buying the products that you're getting the stuff that works. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what else to tell you.
Exactly.
So
All right, Anthony, we're going to get you out of here. We've gone 25 minutes, 15 minutes too long.
No, you're fine. You're fine. You're
we
fine.
made you stay all the way to the bale, but we got
No,
to go
you're
talk
no,
to
you,
TNS
no,
now.
you're good, man. And so, well, anyways,
Get the
have
plug,
fun.
yeah.
If people have questions, like I said, always reach out to us. I mean, reach out to you guys as well. You guys are
Mhm.
great advocates for everything detailing, and I think that you guys are great sources of information as well. And you guys do a great job doing this. And so we'll have to do it again. And like I said, I'm down to dive into the weeds whenever you want to. I have fun. I have fun with this kind of stuff.
Exactly.
And so anyways, have a fun rest of your guys' cleaner cast, and hopefully we'll start seeing some more reviews on the product soon.
Definitely.
Hope
All
so.
right, follow them at the Rag Company, and we'll catch you on the next one. Hope you enjoyed this bonus episode. See you later, Anthony.
All right, see you guys.
Yeah.